that is going to hurt you, that they're going to hate on you and the purpose that they see in you. And not necessarily because they don't believe in God. They just don't believe that God can use you, or that God can love you the way that he does. It's very interesting because even in verse 10 it says, now his father is rebuking him. Now even his father is saying, what are you talking about? That we're going to be serving you? Tú estás loquito. What's wrong with you? Sometimes even our parents will do things to us, maybe not necessarily on purpose. But you know what? You cannot blame them, because they're also hurting. They probably did something to them that now they're doing that to you, and they're not even realizing that what they're doing is really hurting you as well. And even though, I'm going to tell you why I know this, because Jacob, if you go all the way to Abraham, it comes in generational, that there is lies and lies. Isaac, lie. Jacob, Jacob. His name, what does his name means? What does his name means? Does anybody know what Jacob means? Ay, Dios mío, we need to go back to Sunday school. Deceiver, liar. And that's why I can tell you that there is times in our lives that even our own family, want it or not, sometimes they make those wounds on you, not necessarily because they're hating on you. It's that they don't even know how to treat you, or how to love on you, or how to accept who you are, because they themselves are hurting. They themselves have pains. They themselves have struggles that they don't know how to deal with them. And I love what you said, Jay, because you understand that probably your mom was also a victim of the lies of the enemy. And that's what is happening in here. Look at verse 11. It says that, I'm going to read it, because if you guys don't believe me, I'm going to read it. His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Now that we're not just hating on him, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 verses that are saying, and hated him even more, and hated him even more. And so it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now they're just have envy on him. You see how all those stuff in their brothers now is affecting him? All the stuff that it's in them now is creating in him. Because when you keep on reading, it says in there that they talk about it. Hey, we should get rid of this dude. He shouldn't be even part of the family. You know what? Let's just get rid of him. But Reuben says, no, wait, let's not kill him. Let's put him in a pit. Let's put him in a pit. You see? Yes, Joseph was placed in a pit, but his brothers were also in a pit. And we're going into the spiritual aspect. Sometimes you're going to find yourself that you yourself are also in a pit of hating, in a pit of anger, in a pit of unforgiveness, an addiction, whatever your pit is. His brothers were also on their own pit. They were hating on him. They were hating him so much that it says that after they threw him in the pit, they were indifferent. They had no sympathy for him. They even had lunch. Man, we got rid of him. Now they're planning to lie to the father. You think that's loving on the father? They knew how much it was going to hurt on him, knowing that his favorite son was devoured by animals. They were lying You see how sometimes when we are on those pits, we might hide it from people so they don't know how much we're hurt. But it's because we just don't want to realize it, that in our pit, we're also suffering. We are also so focused on, look what they did to me. Look what is going on to me. But not realizing that you yourself you're drowning in that pit. I'm going to ask you a question. Which pit you're in? What is your pit? God is telling you it is time to come out of that pit. It is time to come out of that hole. You cannot continue on with the purpose. If Joseph would have stayed in that pit, you think he would have been fulfilling his purpose? No. God had a purpose with him. And even though the brothers were not in an actual pit, they were also in that pit, but they stayed longer. Because you don't see it later, years later, that they have to come out from that pit when Joseph confronted them. I am gonna show you how sometimes when we are in a pit, it's dark. It's lonely. It's dark. You have a lot of friends around you, but you feel like nobody can see me. Nobody can see what I'm going through. I'm feeling like empty. I'm feeling like nobody cares. I'm feeling like there is no solution. I'm feeling like there's nobody that is looking at my pain. I bet you that if I ask you, I know that some of you will say, I feel in there. I feel in that pain because people have damaged my heart, because people have done things to me, because I've done things. Because like I told you, same as Joseph was in a pit, his brothers were also in that pit. I'm here to tell you, God has already paid that price in order for you to come out to that, but you don't have to be in that pit anymore. God is telling you, come out of that pit. Just the same way that Jay made that decision, like I want God to break me, to mold me, to come into my life. He knew about God, but he didn't experience God until he let go of that anger, of that hatred that he had. It didn't happen until he made that action. So that's why I'm saying, Jay, I hear you. And I believe in your dreams. Because God is telling you tonight that that's what he has for you. You are not alone. And I want you to go to Colossians 1:13-14. And you're going to see in there that what is God is telling you tonight. I know that we're going to have a great time. But our main purpose is for you to understand that you cannot be living the same way that you've been living all this time. With so much anger that you don't know why you're so irritated, that you don't understand why you cannot move forward, that you don't understand why is it that you have goals and then you cannot finish them. You start but you can't finish. That's because there is something in your heart. There is something that you need to let go and let God do his will in your life. And Colossians 1:13 and 14, it says, "For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins." You only have to say, "I'm here. I'm here. Hear my cry." See, that's what David did. When David was in desperation, when David couldn't continue on, he even talked to himself, "Oh, my soul." He's talking to himself. He's not talking to nobody else. Why? Because guess what? When you go to heaven, you're not going to tell your best friend, "Hey, can you talk for me? Can you speak up and tell Jesus or God, like, hey, I'm here. Can you let me in?" No. You yourself have to say, "Yes, I'm following Christ," or "No, I'm not following Christ." But it's your decision. It's your decision. So tonight, I'm going to ask you, come out. And I want Junior to tell you from what pit God brought him out of.
So the pit that I was in, the reason why I loved middle school so much was because I used to be depressed, suicidal actually, and I would beat myself up for every little thing that everybody said. I would beat myself up for all the small stuff of, "Oh, you're not worth it. Oh, you're adopted. Oh, you're this, you're that. Oh, you're too small. You're too quiet. You're too weird." All this other stuff, and I kept putting myself down to the point of where I've had those suicidal thoughts and put into action of almost strangling myself. In our 2-story house, even to the point where when I had a gun, pointing it to my head and saying, "Yo, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore." It wasn't until one of the middle school teachers actually hugged me and said, "Yo, I love you, man. Like, I don't care if nobody else is watching, I'm watching. I love you." And it took me out of that pit. It took me into a place of where, you know what, I know what love is. It's not other people. It's not girls. It's not video games. It's not basketball. It's God. See, when you're placed in a pit, you're put in this darkness, man. It hurt being in here. My legs was hurting. My knee's broken. It hurts. And getting out was even a struggle. But yeah, that itself is a testimony of it does hurt being in a pit. It does hurt being by yourself. But that's what Jay was talking about, of how I helped him. I loved on him. That's what it takes. See, when God puts his love over you, when God places a hand over you, when God surrounds you with people that love you, it takes you out of a pit in such a way that it's just peaceful. It hurts to get out of because you've been so accustomed to being in a pit. You've been so accustomed to being so stuck and brought inside a hole. But once God takes you out, yes, it does hurt to climb out. Yes, it's a struggle. Yes, you might fall. But it feels great being out. It feels good to walk around. It feels great to share a testimony.
Look what Psalms 51 says. "Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love. According to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. Wash away all my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my transgressions and my sin is always before me. Against you, you only have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight. So you are right in your verdict and justified when you judged. Surely I was sinful at birth, sinful from the time my mother conceived me. Yet you desire faithfulness even in the womb. You taught me wisdom in that secret place. Cleanse me, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. This is what God is telling you tonight. It doesn't matter what your pit has been. It doesn't matter. God is telling you tonight, it is time to come out from there. It is time. I've seen everything that is your past. I've seen from generations to generations what the enemy has been trying to do with you. But tonight, he's telling you, come out. Come out. Let us love on you. Let us pray for you. Let's start building relationships that is going to take you closer to God, not more astray from God. This is your time. This is your moment. It is up to you if you want it or not. It is up to you.